Today we will study about carpentry. See, carpentry means making article with timber or wood. Usually the doors, windows, etc. will be made from timber. Of course, nowadays it is being made from either steel or concrete also being used nowadays. But wood is the ideal item. See, first fell the tree and remove the bark. Then it will be taken to running water. That is called primary seasoning. Putting in running water for a long period, say about 3 or 4 months, so that the sweet particles will be eroded by the running water. Sweet particles means sweet for the insects, not for the human. So it is taken to the running water and keeping for a long period. By keeping like that one, what will happen is usually it will be kept in the salt water, so that the salt water, the specific gravity of salt water is always more than the specific gravity of water content in the wood trunk. So you might have studied about osmosis. Due to the osmosis action, water content from the trunk of the tree or wood is coming out to the salt water. So the drying will be more easier, even though if we are keeping in salt water. After putting in salt water about 3 or 4 months, it will be taken to a bandsaw mill. In bandsaw mill, the item is cut into the required thickness. Only thickness will be cut. Suppose we want a 25 mm thick item, you set the bandsaw machine at 25 mm and cut the item. After that, you take the item to a circular saw. In circular saw, the width of the item is cut to our required size. After that, you should keep the item for proper drying. Drying, you should keep the item in shade, not keep in this sunbeam. You should keep in such a way that I will show you, so that drying will be more easier. There is a particular manner you have to keep the item. See, this is the method by which you can keep the item. First layer will be kept like this one. First item is kept giving a little gap, again second item is kept, then third item. Like that you can do. After that you keep the item like this one. Again next layer can be kept like this. Like that you can stack the item, so that all the item will be getting free air, so that all the side will be dried properly. Never keep in the sunbeam. If you are keeping in the sunbeam, what will happen is top layer will be drying and bottom layer may not be dry. Then what will happen? Due to drying, it will be becoming a curvature. That is called a wrapping. See, after drying, it will be taken to like a carpentry shop for making the article. Today we will study about how to make a lap joint. See, I will first introduce the tools used in a carpentry shop. See, before starting any work, we require certain tools. First tool is requirement is measuring and marking tools. This is one of the measuring tools. This is called a steel rule. Steel rule is usually graduated in mm as well as in inch, but we will be using only mm in our shop. Okay. Next, In order to mark the line on a workpiece, we usually use a item called marking knife. This is the marking knife. This is sharp, and this point also can be used to mark the item. Okay. I will show you how to mark the item. Keep a straight edge and using the marking knife you can draw the line. This is a usual procedure. After that you can use a pencil. Usually pencil is used or pen also can be used, but better to use a pencil. Then you will get the line properly. Can you see it? Okay. Next we will be using an item called tri-square. Tri-square is used to check the 90 degree of an item. Suppose you want to check the 90 degree of this corner, then you can keep the item like this and check. If it is touching everywhere everywhere with this blade, then the item is 90 degree, this corner. Okay. Next, in order to mark parallel line about an edge, you can use a marking gauge. This is called marking gauge. Marking gauges consist of a stem and a body and a tightening device. You can change the stem, position of the stem, and the stem is provided with a sharp point. Usually a metallic item will be there, and you can measure up to the sharp point from the face of this one. Suppose you want to take it 2 inches. See why I am telling in 2 inches, you can see only this one properly in the camera. Otherwise it will be difficult. That's why I am using inch. But you never use inch. It is better to use always millimeter and centimeter. Then tighten the item. Now the size is 2 inch or 50 mm. Then you hold the item in the stem should come in between your forefinger and middle finger like this one. Then you can support it with your thumb on the body of the marking gauge. Then keep against the item where you want to mark the item. Suppose I want to mark an item like this one. You hold the item and press against this edge. Then move the item along the edge with a little pressure downwards and supporting with your thumb here. I think you can see the line here. Through the line you can draw a pencil or pen. Better to use the pencil, otherwise pen will be spoiled. See, I already marked a line with a marking gauge. You can see here. You just draw the line through the depression you got here, or you can use a steel rule and place it properly and draw the line. This is the usual marking procedure. Okay. Okay, now we have already discussed all the marking tools used in a carpentry shop. See, usually for selecting the workpiece, you have to cut from the long piece, cut across the length. For that you can use a tenon saw. This one is called a tenon saw. You can see the teeth are very small, and you have to cut the item. You can hold the item in any workbench or carpenter's workbench, and you have to, suppose you want to cut at a distance of 250 mm. You just mark at 250. Then using a tri-square again you can draw a line. Now you can use a tenon saw and cut. Do not cut on the line. You leave a gap of about 1 or 2 mm. Then cut the item. You can cut like this. Or if you feel it very, very difficult, you can do like this also. This is better because you have to apply less force on it. The width is small, so that you have to use only less force. Cut it. Like this you can cut. See, I told you are leaving about 2 mm here. Then you have to cut and remove that portion using a chisel. Using a chisel. This is called firmer chisel. Usually, firmer chisel will have a sharpening from one side only. One side, if you are looking from this side, you cannot say that this is sharpened or not. By looking like this only, you can see this is sharpened. Then you take a C clamp. This one is called C clamp, something like a C or G. Then you can keep like this. But there is a problem. If you are using like this one, my workbench will be spoiled. So usually a paste piece has to be used. Better to use plate or wooden piece like this. Then hold it. See, you have to use a mallet. This is called mallet. Mallet is nothing but a wooden hammer. See, if you are using a metallic hammer, there is a chance of spoiling this side. So it is better to use a mallet. You keep the item on the line in such a way that the tapered side is in the where we are not required. This portion not required. The plain surface should be in the required position. Here, side. And keep the item like this one. This is a procedure. See, suppose you want to cut a curvature like this one, then you have to use another tool that is called a gog. There are two types of gogs are available. One is called outside gog. Here you can see there is a curvature and a sharpening is done from the outside of the curvature. This is the outside of the curvature from this side. This is used to cut a curvature in the outer periphery. Suppose you want a disc type item, then you have to use a outside gog. This is called outside gog. And hold it and cut with this one. So you get it. You have to select the curvature of the gog. According to your curvature, there is a suitable gog has to be selected. Okay. And sometimes you may have to make a inside hole. Suppose you require a large hole, then you have to use a inside gog. In inside gog, sharpening is done from inside of the curvature. You can see the curvature here, but the sharpening is done from inside. Here, the sharpening is done from outside. That is the difference between inside gog and outside. In order to cut a curvature inside, you have to use the inside gouge. Here the waste piece will be going from this side. This is the not required portion inside. Okay. The firmer chisels are coming in various size. This is a very small one, about 20 mm or something like that. Okay. And suppose you want to make a slot. See, if you want to make a slot here, then first mark with a marking gauge this line. Similarly, this line. Then this cross line also you can mark. Then fold the item with a C clamp, what I just told, C clamp. Then using a mortise chisel, this is called mortise chisel. Here you can see width is very small, but thickness is going on changing. This item is called a planer. Planer is used to plane the surface or smoothen the surface of a item. Suppose I want to smoothen here, then what we have to do is fold the item in the carpenter's vise. Then press the item and move that. You can see. This is called planing, smoothening the surface. Okay. Now I will discuss the parts of a planer. These are the parts. First I will tell you, this is called a sole of the planer. You can see. This is the main handle and this is the supporting handle. And this one is called a lateral adjustment lever. Lateral adjustment of blade. This one is called blade. You can keep like this. You can see when I am moving this is moving laterally. What a lateral adjustment lever. The blade is consists of two parts. One is called blade, other one is called chip breaker. Even though the name is chip breaker, actually it is not breaking the chip, but it is directing the chip coming outside. Then there is a plate, this is called a lever plate. Now it is ready. See, in order to adjust the blade, you have to rotate the thumb screw. Here you can see a screw. You can adjust the length of the blade. According to the direction, it will be increasing or decreasing. If any lateral problem is there, suppose one side is projecting too much and the other side is less, then you can use a lateral adjustment lever. Okay. This is one of the major item you used to plane the item. Nowadays, electrically operated planer is also coming, hand operated planer. Today we will be discussing about two types of joints used in a carpentry shop. One is called a T-joint or T-lap joint. Here lapping is done, half portion on the one of the part and half portion is from the other part is removed and kept like this, so that the top surface will be on the same level. It's called a T-lap joint. Another joint, this another one of the problem of this one, if you pull the item, it will come off. Another type of joint is used in carpentry usually. This is called a dovetailed joint. Here you can see a tapered portion is provided in the both the item, here as well as here. We keep the item like this one, and if you push the item, pull the item, it will not go. Pull or push, both can be taken. In this case, only push can be taken, pull cannot be taken. Usually nailing is required this way. Here even without nailing you can use. Today we will make a item like this one. In order to make the item, we have to use a workpiece. This is taken from a long piece and cut into the required size. After getting the item, first check any defect on the workpiece. Here you can see small defect like this. Then that portion you leave it. Then take the other portion where no defect is there. Then hold the item in such a way that half of the portion is going inside the bench joist. Then tighten it properly. Tighten the item properly. Then using the planer, you can plane the item. See, if you are not getting the smoothness, what you have to do? You have to change the orientation of the workpiece. See, planing should be done only till the bandsaw mark has gone. The bandsaw mark, you can see parallel lines. You can see the parallel line. That is called bandsaw mark. You have to remove till the bandsaw mark has gone. Okay. See, after doing this one, you can check the straightness like this. Okay. Now check for the edge. Again, what we have done in the first time, without a defect we will be selecting. Here also, without any defect we will select it. Suppose I am selecting this side. Then take out and check whether any angular problem is occurred. For that you have to use a tri-square. This is already planed surface and this is a newly planed surface. You check again the width. See, if it is touching everywhere. See, this is our workpiece. Length is decided depending on the size of the item. See, two pieces we have to make. This much length is enough. Okay. So, after getting the item, we have to smoothen all the surface. First, we have to select one of the wider side, either this side or this side. You have to select in such a way that without much problem, you have to select that side. Here you can see some problem is here. So we will select this as the best side of the workpiece. So after that you keep the item in the carpenter's vise in such a way that half of the workpiece is projecting from the jaw of the workbench, I mean carpenter's bench. Then smoothen the item with the hand planer. See, smoothening should be done in such a way that all the bandsaw mark has gone. In sometimes you may not get a smooth surface. Then what you have to do is immediately change the orientation of the workpiece. Then you can do it again. After smoothing the item, you can check the straightness of the workpiece. You can use like this. it is touching everywhere, that means it is straight. Okay. See, now we have to plane one of the thinner side, either here or here. Here some problem is noticed. So we will select this as the best side, best thinner side. Then hold it in the vise. As done earlier, half portion will be projecting from the vise. Then using the planer you can smoothen the surface. Now you have to check the angle by using a tri-square. This is a tri-square. This side we have already done and this is newly done side. Keep like this one and check whether the angle is 90 degree. And if angle is 90 degree, then blade will be touching everywhere. See, you can see here. Press against the already done uh, surface with the body of the tri-square and move the item so that the blade will be touching everywhere, then it is 90 degree. If any problem is like this one, see, you can see a small problem occurred here. See, here is the problem. You can see a little more height is here and less height is here. What you have to do, again hold here and remove a little from the place where it is projecting more. Now once more you check. Now it is almost okay. You can see here.
Okay.
Again continue. Now two sides are over. Now we have to plane till our required size is arrived. One and two. I think you can see this one.
Unit.
Side 1 and side 2. Now we have to plane till the required cross section is arrived. Our requirement width is 44 mm. So what we have to do? Take 44 in the marking gauge. This is a marking gauge and you have to take 44 in this. From here to the point of the item, 44 mm. Now this is 44. From newly planed surface, you press the item like this one and mark the item. You have to mark not only in one side, rear side also you have to mark. Now we have to remove this much amount. For that it is better to mark with a pencil and start doing. You plane it till the line is arrived. Till the line is arrived. That means the width is become okay. Now we have to plane the thickness to 22 mm. For that you have to take 22 mm in the marking gauge. Now only one side will be pending. All the three sides are over. only one side is bending. You mark the item from the wider side first. Both sides you have to mark like this. So you have to remove this much portion so that our required size is arrived. You keep the item in the bench way, carpenter's wise, and you remove it till the line is arrived. Now it is already become the size of 44 by 22, 44 width and 22 mm thickness. See, we required two pieces like this one. For that we have to cut this one, this length into two pieces. You can mark at the center a single line, or you take it 120 mm. The length of the piece is 120 mm. What you have to do? Draw a line very near to your edge using tri-square. From that reference line, you take 120 from that point. Then draw another line here. So you will be getting this, the length is 120. Similarly, you start from the other edge. Leave about 1 or 2 mm, then draw a line from here like this one. Then mark, take 120. Then you will get another line here. Mark another line here. Okay. Then what you have to do is cut this one into two pieces by using a tenon saw. This is called a tenon saw. Tenon saw is used to cut across the grain. Grain. See, you have to cut without touching both of the line. At the middle you can cut. See, the workpiece is cut into two pieces like this one. Now we have to mark the item or mark the layout of the piece we have to do on this one. See, my requirement is like this one. So you have to transfer the dimensions here. The dimension here it is 38 mm. So from the line you mark 38 here. 38 mm. Okay. After that you mark with it. Always use tri-square and press against this one and then mark the item. And this is 38. Similarly from the other side also you mark 38. This is 38. Now again use the tri-square and mark properly 38. This portion is not required. You can see this one. For a depth of half the thickness of this one. The thickness is 22 mm. So the depth will be 11 mm. So you can mark 11 mm here also. For that you can use this marking gauge, or you can mark with a steel rule 11 mm. Then mark like this. Now this portion we have to remove. For that what you have to do is first keep the item in the carpenter's vise. Now cut the item till 11 mm is arrived. But don't cut on the line. You leave about 2 mm, 1.5 to 2 mm, away from the line where we required exact 90-degree cut. So I am cutting here. I am leaving about 2 mm. Cut till 11 mm is arrived. While cutting, you should be careful. Don't cut like this. Then some angle will come. Always parallel to the surface. Okay, this depth is 11 mm. Up to 11 mm depth you can cut. Not only this side, the other side also. Similarly, you leave about 2 mm and cut from this side also. Always keep away from the line we are already drawn. About 2 mm you can leave and cut. You can see here this 11 mm from the top surface up to here. Similarly, this side also you have to cut up to this point. See, I am going to remove the unwanted portion, this portion. For that, I will be using a C-clamp to hold the workpiece. See, using a firmer chisel, you remove the item. While keeping the chisel, you should be careful. The slanted side or sharpened side should be in this side. That means unwanted portion side. This is unwanted portion. That side, this chamfering will be coming like this. Then you cut only a very small amount, about 2 mm or like this, 1.5 to 2 mm. Like this you proceed again till the almost the line is arrived. Now almost cutting is over. Now take out the item. And any smoothness problem is there, you hold the item like this one and move the chisel like this, so that item is completely finished. See, one of the part is now completed. Okay. Now one of the piece is ready. Now take the other piece. Here also I have already marked. Here I have already marked. The total length is 120 and we are starting from this side. The reference side is this one. The width is 44 because the width of this one should come exactly like this. That means this is 44, so the cutting also should be 44. So mark at a 44 mm with a tri-square. Always use tri-square, otherwise some slanting may come. Now this is 44. As done in the case of the other piece, you keep the item in the carpenter's vise and cut till 11 mm is arrived. As told earlier, don't cut on the line, leave about 2 mm away from the line and start cutting. See, after cutting, you remove the item. Just we have done like this one. Keep the item here and you hold it here. Then cut a small item at a time. Don't try to cut at this point 11 mm. Always cut about 1 or 2 mm at a time. Again you can cut a little. Like that you have to follow. Like this you can follow till the line is arrived. After that you take the item and you have to cut along the line by using a chisel. Now you can cut very near to the line, but not on the line. Now I have left about 2 mm. You keep the item about 1 mm from the line. Then cut the item. Before cutting, you have to see, you have to cut on the line. The final cutting should be done on the line. As I told earlier, the unwanted portion, the chamfered side should come. You can see this one. This is our required portion. That side plain portion should come like this. Then cut it till the 11 mm is arrived. Now you can place the pieces together and you will get the required joint. Now our joint is arrived. Okay. See that the thickness should be only 11 mm and there should not be any bulging at the center. Usually the students will be making mistake and center portion will be bulging. Always everywhere the thickness should be same. Then if you match the item, it is properly fixing. Actually it should not have any gap between the item. For example, this one, another type of joint, there is no gap at all. It will be standing like this. A little tight will be okay. All right.